In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the if function. The if function looks like this. It's just going to be if. You'll put some round parentheses in there. And then what you're going to do is type in some kind of condition that's going to be a logical condition, or it's going to be some kind of statement that's going to give you out a logical value, a true or a false. Then you'll follow that with some curly brackets, and then you'll just throw in some steps that you want to have followed if that condition is true. Right? If that condition is not true, well, then it just won't follow those steps. Now you do have the option, if that condition is not true, to have some alternate steps be performed. Right? In which case you just type in else, the curly bracket, type in your alternate steps. So this is the general form of this if statement. What you can do though is something kind of nifty, and I'll give you a real example here. Let me bring this down. I'm going to start by making a vector. It's 1 through 8, and just for fun, I guess it's fun, I'm going to use the sample function, so I don't know what I'm going to get out of this. And I'm going to say sample 2 values. I want it to, I'm going to sample for my vector x, and I want to sample 2 values. And I'm going to make it possible that both of them are the same, so I'm going to say replace equals true. And then just so we know what our values are, you wouldn't really do this in real life, but so we can see them, I'm going to have it print them out for us. And then what we're going to do is we're going to check to see if the first value of y is equal to 1. Okay? If that ends up being the case, what I'm going to have it do is make a new variable, call it z. And what z is going to be is it's going to be the difference between the first and the second value of y. So it's just going to subtract the two things. Now, as an alternative, if it's not equal to 1, I'm going to have it create a value, a variable z, and it's going to come from adding the two elements of y. And so last thing I'll have on here is just so we can see the results and something like that. So I put this up in this R script here. So now I'm going to go ahead and just run this whole thing. So it's going to randomly pick one number or two numbers from between 1 and 8, and it's going to either add or subtract them depending upon what the first number is. And so if I bring this up here, what we'll see is what it picked was 2 and 2, and since it picked 2 and 2, those are not equal to, or the first value is not equal to 1, so it would have gone down to the second step here, and it would have added them, and I do get a 4. Now I'm going to come back up, and I'm going to run this again. I don't actually have to run the first line because I already have the vector 8 loaded, but I do want to resample, pick two other numbers. And so I did that, and now I want to see what they are. And if I look over here, I can actually see them. I don't know why I made y, but I'll do it. So I can see that, and then I'll run the if else, and then I'm going to hit on this little arrow one last time to see what it's going to do. Now in this case, they weren't equal to 1, so it should add them, so my answer should be 13 here. Now I'm going to cheat a little bit for this last one, and I'm going to just say, instead of sampling something, I'm going to give it some precise values. I'm going to do 1 and 8. So I'll run that line, and then I'll run the if-else statement. Now in this case, since the first value is a 1, when I look at z, I should get a subtracted version of this, which is 1 minus 8. And that's how the if function works when it's working as just a scalar on a single element like that.